Game one of the Stanley Cup Final is in the books. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Nick Kypreos here for Real Kyper at noon. And what a weekend it was. Did anybody leave their couch? That's what I want to know. Because I was kind of glued to it, but still had a few things to do around the house. Yes, I am that type of guy. I just cannot tell the wife, this is where I'm going to be here, and don't bother me till Sunday night. I don't get away with that. Do you guys get away with that? Anybody? No, I think it's just me. But it was fantastic. Not to say that there wasn't anything else going on, but the focus for us was obviously game one, Saturday night, watching Dallas get off to a good lead. For the most part, I think we're all under the same kind of idea and focus that Tampa Bay is the better team. They're deeper. They've got more consistent goaltending, although that wasn't showing Saturday night. But Dallas found a way. Is it just about Tampa kind of still coming off that Islander series, looking a little tired? Maybe. Now, we don't want to say that this is a must-win tonight for the Tampa Bay Lightning, but going down 2-0 to a team that can shut down offense like Dallas has shown would make it a pretty difficult task. But it was a great weekend nonetheless. We also saw DeChambeau in the U.S. Open. Now, I'm a flipper. I got multitasks or screens anyway, so I kind of multitask a little bit. Didn't watch much NFL. I left that to my good buddy Joe Holka. And I know Doug Maclean also took a little bit of everything in, including playing one of the top golf courses in the world. And we know he disappeared on the Real Kyper at Noon show late last week. With permission, though. I gave him a note. So he did have permission to go play Cabot Links. And we're going to hear all about that in a very short while, I'm sure. How about some clicks for Schitt's Creek as well? Did anybody catch the Emmys at all, or at least hear about what great Canadian pride we all have today, knowing that they swept the category of comedy? That was pretty cool as well. So good on them. And all right, Mac. Can't have you sit any longer. I know you're itching. I know you've been quiet for the last few days, and you got a ton to say. So do we just talk about your weekend and get it over with, or you want to save that?
Well, I mean, look, I just would like to enlighten the fans on, what I did have a lot of hockey conversations as you know, I headed to Inverness, Cape Breton Island for the weekend to play the Lynx and the Cliffs, the two courses. This hat, by the way, is the Cabot Cliffs logo on it, the blue lobster and Cabot written underneath it. The reason I went with this hat is because this is in honor of the Dallas Stars winning Game 1. My friend Rick Bonus, and also it's I thought it would add it up a little bit. The jacket is a Lynx or a Cliffs jacket as well, just a cheap vest.
You didn't want to get two that match.
But no, I thought the green was so Dallas like that. I thought it was real important to honor my friend Rick Bonus. But you know what? It was a terrific weekend. I'll tell you what, for real golfers, and I'm not much of a golfer, but for real golfers, this is paradise. This is a course developed by a guy by the name of Kaiser, who started Bandon Dunes, and actually they're building Cabot St. Lucia right now, which is going to be another Cabot course. But it is absolutely spectacular. 90% of the holes along the ocean, Atlantic Ocean, and I'm telling you, it is something special.
Did you play the Lynx, the Cliffs, and what's the third one? Nest? The Nest?
The Nest is the par 3. Okay. It's a par 3 13-hole course for people that don't really want to get engaged in the heaviness of the other two courses. But
they're not spending $350 to go play 13 holes, not to be engaged.
I think the idea of that is for people that that want to go to the resort or want to go to the lodge, but do not want to get engaged in a real heavy duty golf course. And these are heavy duty golf courses. Number one, no power carts. You walk the course. You have the pull carts or caddies, the 3-wheel pull carts. What's the most unique thing about this course is you actually take your cart to the flag. The grass is so defined both on the green and the fairway that you take your cart right to the pin. I've never heard of that.
I'm scared that I'm going to step in someone's line and you get to wheel something out on the green.
I know.
There.
And it has no effect whatsoever on the green, the type of grass that they have there. Very big greens. And I'm telling you, you want to talk about rolling hills on greens. When you're trying to read these greens, it's almost impossible. But anyway, it's a spectacular place and a ton of hockey fans that hang out there or seem to be there. I've been there. This is my third time. And I'm telling you how many hockey fans I run into.
We just had a shot of you driving your RV on the way there. We had a lot of fun with you. The reception was actually pretty good having you on the show late last week on the way there. And you shot what, a 91, Mac? A 91?
91 at the links and a 93 at the cliffs. Now,
so 91 on the front and 93 in the back.
No, 91 at the
for a total of 180.
But that also included a breakfast ball on each round. A breakfast ball in each round. Okay.
I think your ball had 3 meals that day: breakfast, lunch, and
What?
dinner.
I'm going to tell you, I played the links on Friday and never lost a ball. I couldn't believe that. Now, I don't hit it really far to lose them, but I never lost a ball.
Well, good on you. So
anyway, and the other thing I just want to touch on is the Blue Jacket jersey. Aren't you curious to why it's up?
Bobby Orr, we understand. Columbus Blue Jacket, we could be here for 5 consecutive days, 24 hours a day. We will never figure out why you have Columbus Blue Jackets on your wall.
Well, this was the jersey that was sent to me when the new logo was first unveiled. If you think back to the former Blue Jackets, the original logo was this logo, the CBJ logo. Okay.
Okay. All right.
So this was the actual jersey that came from the league to me in 2003 when the new logo was unveiled. So the league had actually sent me that. And we had designed this new logo, which still stands today, and that's based on the Ohio flag. Now, the reason why that's there today is because Jeff Rimmer, our good friend in Columbus, the play-by-play guy, has told me at least a half a dozen times that how obvious it is that Columbus are still to this minute the second best team in the playoffs because they gave Tampa Bay such a good round. So I thought I would honor Rimmer and the Blue Jays today for being the second best team still in the playoffs, according to Rimmer, but they aren't in the playoffs. That's what he doesn't understand. You're not in the playoffs,
Can't we just get Rimmer a plaque and then just get him to just
second best team?
Be quiet after that. Would that shut him up if we gave him a plaque?
I'm hoping this shakes him enough that he stops bothering me.
Okay, game 1, Mac, under the books. Nobody really expected Dallas to win that game, despite the fact that they were well rested. And if we look at the results of it, once again, let's put on our surprise faces on. The ice was tilted in favor of the team Dallas is playing. Yet they find a way to win. And it kind of looks like it has throughout this tournament. And that is spectacular goaltending and some timely goals. Look,
it is strange. I mean, Tampa Bay, as Cooper said, did we need a shower after that game? I mean, the first 2 periods, I couldn't believe how bad they were the first 2 periods. They did not show up. Is this again? I mean, do we see this very often in a Stanley Cup that a team doesn't show up to start a game? I mean, it was a no-show for 2 periods.
It's hard. I kind of joked around even up 2.5 weeks ago. It's hard to get two teams playing exceptionally well at the same time.
Oh,
It's either one or the other.
but this was I know they come off a hard-fought series, but Tampa have been one of the teams that have had rest between a lot of rounds here. They've got the better of it.
Yeah.
I mean, think about them going in to play Vancouver and what Vancouver was up against prior to what the Lightning were up against when they started that series. So to me, I'm not buying that excuse that, they've had a fairly light road to get here other than the Columbus series, according to Rimmer. But look, this team has got to be a lot better than that. But don't underestimate what Heiskanen and this blue line have done to every team in the league. I mean, think back, Nick. Calgary were that far away from taking a 3-1 series lead against Dallas, and Dallas found a way to win it. And Heiskanen has become maybe the MVP of the playoffs. He's got to be right there. This entire blue line has given up limited chances. I'll tell you what, they're a team of destiny right now. Wow. So the Lightning better be a lot better tonight.
It is kind of looking and leaning towards more and more that Dallas isn't going to give this away. They look like they're finding a way to stay right into it and maybe even win it. That's not underestimating Dallas.
Yeah.
But you don't expect a Tampa Bay Lightning to come out as flat as they did in 40 minutes. And of course, they had 22 shots on goal in the third. The ice was tilted. The shot attempts were like 100 to 3, and yet Dallas won't break.
They won't. And you say, okay, why? And you say, okay, look at their quality veteran group. Well, Sagan, Ben Radulov, veterans. Pavelski is a great veteran. And then you know what's really going to be interesting? This is a team that I listened to Rick Bowness talking about his fourth line, the Cogliano, Dickinson, Como line. They lost Faxa there, but I mean, that checking line did a heck of a job on points line the other night, getting them out there as much as he can get them out there against that big line. And they are tough to play against. Blake, Como, Cogliano, Dickinson filling in for Faxa. That is not an easy group. And then you've got that line. If that line could ever contain the big line, which I can't believe they'll be able to, because their power play is BS right now. So if that checking line and this defense can handle these big guys, this could be a heck of a series for Dallas.
Well, and just the mental mistakes. And what's Henley? Almost 30 years of age.
Wow, what a story.
NHL goal. I don't know what Bogosian was doing in the corner. And I get it. Point takes a hit and you want to, I don't know what he was doing. Like, if you're going to punch somebody, punch him. If you're going to have words, make it worth your while. If you're Bogosian, you're going to take yourself out of the play, then just don't sit on the fence. Don't stand there and stare at somebody. Do something. Say something. Make it worth your while. Those mistakes, and even Sergachev on the Kiviranta goal. That one was a bit of a backbreaker. Mac, it's like that
was a killer.
1-on-3, 1-on-4. Why are you? I get it. I get it in terms of a different way to play if you're a defenseman than it was 20 years ago. Find me one NHL coach that wouldn't rather have a defenseman stand up a 1-on-3 at the blue line, Mac. Why is he at the top of the circles trying to play goalie?
Unbelievable. And I mean, it was a gift. It was a gift.
It was a gift.
Is what it was. And,
right.
So, there's these great stories of Kiviranta and Garyanov and Corey Perry. And I mean, there's so many interesting stories here. Jamie, our swimmer's brother, Jamie. I mean, how good has he been?
Penny's brother.
How damn good has he been?
Who can't score 4 goals in over 100 games, but he can score more in the playoffs.
This guy was basically run out of Pittsburgh. And he's a top 4 guy and been a horse for them all year. He was a former first-round pick. How does this happen? How does a team like Pittsburgh let this guy go when they are struggling on the back end. And he's tough and he's big. Is it his partner? Well, you'd have to say his partner has something to do with it.
There's a lot of confidence on that blue line right now.
Is there ever? Is there ever?
Nick Kypreos, Doug Maclean. It's the Real Kyper at Noon show. So much to get into, including the NHL awards. As many as 5 major awards will go out tonight, Monday night, and we're going to get into that. We'll get also into a bit of a State of the Union address by Gary Bettman on the weekend. We'll get Mac's thought on that. The thumbnail in today's show is Stamkos, Mac. And, you know, we talked about this 2 weeks ago. I thought at some point that he would have been in a conference final. We know that was announced just prior to that series, that he would not see it without, stipulating one way or another in the Stanley Cup Final. But Mac, I get the sense now that this guy's ready to go. He's been ready to go, and maybe it's Cooper that's a little reluctant here in putting him in. And yes, he's been out for a long time, for 6 months. He hasn't played a game.
Yeah.
But with Stamkos, I don't know if there's a better pure athlete in our game that can do so many things well. And I've seen this guy being in the Toronto-Markham area, whether it's golf, soccer, baseball, track. This is one of those pure athletes that could have been great at anything he did. I just don't know if you're John Cooper, what the hesitation would be in getting him in your lineup.
Are you insinuating that he's ready to go and Cooper is stalling on this?
I really get the sense that he can play. He's ready to go. I think.
Okay, so tell me what I'm missing here. Their power play is brutal.
Well, it's 17% in the postseason, and they haven't scored a power play goal since Game 3 of the Islanders, and that was Palat, I think.
So would you agree that I said it's terrible? It's close to terrible.
It's terrible.
But it's close.
They can't get second and third chances on it.
So if you're John Cooper, and as smart as John Cooper is, I know he's got a lawyer. I know a lot of dumb lawyers, by the way. I've had but anyway, so you've got Braden Shen dressed as your number 7 defenseman, and you got a power play that's struggling, and you got one of the best power play guys in the NHL over the last 10 years. And you're hesitating whether to put him in over Luke Shen? That's what am I missing here?
That's just me and my feelings. I don't know if it's whether or not it's definitively Cooper or not, but there is a sense that he could come in, and Mac, if it's anything else, even if it is 5 or 7 minutes a night just on the power play, isn't that worth it alone to have him out there?
That's what I mean. 100%. Yeah. I mean, so here,
regular shifts.
Let me just give you a little credit. You mentioned Goudreau had to be really examined in Calgary. You mentioned Fleury knew about the knife in the back. You mentioned that Laine could be on the move, and now you mentioned Stamkos. No. And then it's been first talked about on the Real Kyper show with you bringing it up, and now you're bringing up Stamkos. So now, will I read about this in a couple of days, or what? Now, I mean. You're being soft on your news breaking here, but
did you also mention the friction between Cooper and Rick Bowness as well? That's starting to make some traction in mainstream media.
Oh, too. And I think we did bring that up last week, did we not? Anyway,
I'm sure it's nice. I like only talking about it because it adds to the how much you're intrigued in this series, because it's always those little stories that. We know the big story. It's winning the Stanley Cup, but I like that sort of stuff.
It's also some people are nervous about saying it.
Well,
we
assume not to be. It wouldn't surprise me at all, Mac, to see Cooper not play Stamkos maybe one more game and then try to go all in with him. And
I would hope so.
Especially if they're down 2-0. That's when it's a no-brainer.
With your inside information, is he 60%? Is he 80%? I mean, I suspect you got a percentage there.
I would think he's whatever the percentage is, Mac. It's probably better than Braden Point's percentage, and I think that guy is given everything he has out there. And there are times when he can hide it, but there's other times when he still labors out there. So I got to think after all this time that Stamkos would probably be about 70%, 75% at the most, and that could be good enough. And
well, if it brings them, the power play is going to be a real important part. And not only that, how popular Stamkos is with his teammates and what it would mean to them to have Stamkos in the lineup and be able to contribute. I mean, come on.
Game condition would mean a lot more to Cooper than it would be your teammates, right? They just want to see that guy in. And deep down, they'll take Stammer at 3/4, at 60%, because they know they've lived it. They've been on the ice with him every day when he's healthy. They know how good he is. So, but for a guy like Cooper, it would matter. It would matter about if he felt like he did not have the conditioning or the game feel going into something as important as Game 2 of a Stanley Cup Final.
Yeah. I just think that, you start them off easy on the power play, where there's not going to be a whole lot of pressure on Stamkos. But you also know, and correct me if I'm wrong, would Steven Stamkos not be one of the best conditioned athletes in the entire NHL?
He's he's got an unbelievable work ethic. We know him with Gary Roberts and that whole group, and he's been the leader of the Gary Roberts group. It's just not being in the group. It's being one of his best students.
Exactly.
And that's where Stamkos has the up on a lot of guys. So I think it would come into play for sure. And I don't care if he's been off for half a year. I have enough trust in his natural ability plus his work ethic over the years that he would come in and even at a limited role, come in and find a way to contribute.
With all due respect to Luke Schenn and the great job he's done, filling in tremendously at times. But I'm sorry, this is a no-brainer if he's close.
Yeah. And the big boys got to find a way, Mac. Tampa's good and they're deep. But I look at Dallas right now and they're still finding ways to win without Seguin scoring. And if you look at that Oleksiak goal, Mac, just prior to Oleksiak's goal, if you watch the first fourth checker being Seguin take out and kind of eliminate Hedman on the play, and then Radulov comes in off the wall, picks up the puck, and does a little bit of a 360, and it's a fantastic play. It's a fantastic forecheck, and he's able to spin off the wall and feed a perfect pass to Oleksiak, which enabled him to have so much room to go in and get his second opportunity. Those guys are finding a way to contribute without doing it on a consistent basis on the score sheet. I like Stamkos. I liked Seguin's game, despite not scoring.
And Ben has been Ben. I mean, he's seems to be on a mission. You know what? And we haven't even mentioned Khudobin, who, listen, 3-1, he makes that big save on Killorn. I mean, he made a couple of big saves at 3-1 to keep it from 3-2, which would have given them a little bit of energy. So some timely saves, even though Tampa Bay weren't great prior. Some timely saves by Khudobin has given them a chance still. And
it's a hell of a story, Mac.
I mean, how long can he keep this up?
I don't know.
How many times have we said this?
Against Vegas, that one game where he looked like a fish out of water, and we were kind of joking around on it. And yet since then, Mac, there's been a level of calmness to his game as well. He's not floundering like he did before. He's not looking like he's using any more energy than he needs to, which is a sign of a guy who's calm, collected, and certainly confident. And that's where his game is right now. He's dangerous right now, the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Right. And not only that, he's got so much confidence in his blue line. He knows they're going to get limited. First of all, he knows there's not going to be an odd man rush with the way this team back checks and the way they play defensively. There's not going to be a lot of odd man rushes. And Tampa Bay's an odd rush team because they come at you. So he knows that. He knows there's not going to be a lot of second opportunities. So he's almost in a zone where he knows if he makes the first save, it's not going to be there for rebounds and second opportunities. So he's feeling really, really good right now. And I love listening to Rick Bowness talk about, we got a little penalty trouble in the third period, and Tampa Bay got it going a little bit because of that. And, we got on our heels, but that's not our game. We don't want to play in our own end. We want to play up ice. We got the defense that defend, and we got the defense that move the puck. And this is a pretty unique blue line right now. Let me tell you, it's a pretty unique blue line in the NHL.
And I think Tampa Bay almost knows now, even after game one, what it was like to even be Vegas against them. You don't chase the scoreboard against Dallas. You certainly don't go into the third period down and chasing the scoreboard, because they shut it down. They lock in. You chase in the third period, you're done against Dallas. And that level of frustration, Maroon, you're down 3-1, you shoot the puck in the bench. What the hell is that?
Listen, they've given up. Tampa Bay have given up this is 6 straight games where they've given up the first goal against. You don't want to get in a hole like that against this team. So like you just talked about. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be a war before it's over. I really believe it's going to be a war before it's over.
What'd you think of the 10-minute misconduct to Maroon for shooting that puck? I look at that and I go, that's got to get addressed too, Mac. There's just no way someone should be able to do that without hurting your team. And I mean, with at least a 2-minute minor, unsportsmanlike. To throw him in the penalty box for 10 minutes. The guy only plays 10 minutes anyways. What did he miss? A shift? Maybe 2 at the most?
There's one thing this time of year, as a coach or a manager or as a teammate, you do not want to see your teammates putting your team in a bad situation. As great as Lucic played in the Calgary series, he took a couple of the worst penalties you could take in an elimination game. I feel for him, but you just can't get away with that stuff. You watch Maroon. He should have got penalized for it. 10-minute misconduct's BS. That's what it is. It's BS. And where's his head? This is not exhibition games. This is a guy that was won the Stanley Cup a year ago. Yeah. He should know better. But he should have got penalized. But the referees let him off the hook, which is BS for me.
And then it doesn't become important enough for the coach to sit there and make it. He gets a 2-minute minor. The coach comes into that dressing room and he just starts giving it to you and saying, you're hurting our team. 10-minute misconduct. It's an afterthought.
Cooper can laugh at it. When it's a 10-minute misconduct, Cooper can laugh at it because he wasn't getting back on the ice for another 11 minutes at least. Anyway, even if he wasn't in the penalty box, he wasn't getting out there. So anyway.
Okay, so
this time of year, man, and Dallas are playing with composure.
Tampa's got to be able to be a lot better, more disciplined, as we just alluded to seconds ago.
I got them winning tonight, but I'm not comfortable with it.
All right, and we're going to boost this game up too, right, Jordan? Jordan, you out there? Jordan's walking his dog, I think.
I'm not walking my dog. I just was producing the show. I was working for a living, Give me a break.
Can you get me a Americano next time you're at Starbucks, Jordan?
Yeah, I think it's going to be cold by the time it gets to PEI, my friend.
We're going to boost this one. We're going to boost this one for blitzbet.eu, right?
Yeah, so the boost is not in yet. We gave them to them pre-show. Basically, what we do is we tell them, hey, what we want and what the fans, that they demand, and we give it to them. So the plan for tonight is that we're going to boost the Tampa Bay money line.
Yes,
we're going to go under on the game, and we're going back to Old Faithful with Kucherov to score again. So keep your eyes peeled to Kipper's Twitter, our Twitter, and blitzbet.eu's Twitter.
Yeah, and we expect Vasilevsky to be better, Mac. That's for sure. And he's also up for the Vesina. We're going to get into that, the Hart, the Norris, the Calder, and the Ted Lindsay as well. And that's given by the players through the NHL Players Association. Before we get on to that, just a quick thought, Mac, maybe on Gary Bettman addressing that he's hoping that it's business as usual in terms of the thought always about next season would have been a December launch, but even Gary said that that's unlikely now.
It was one of the strangest press conferences I've ever had the opportunity to listen to, because Gary is usually pretty definitive in what he says, and really everything he said, but yes, but. I mean, what did he tell us? I mean,
well,
we're going to try to play 82 games. Like, yeah, good luck on that one. But anyway,
you're also at the mercy of governments, and until we know what it's going to be like, particularly with crossing borders, and we do know that the hub in Edmonton's open to families right now in Canada, but nobody in the U.S. Has got the green light out of the Canadian government. That's been very frustrating for both teams, who would love for their respective families out of the Dallas area or Tampa Bay to be in a position to watch. But that's not happening, and Gary knows that without it, you're going to start making plans. And I think even the Players Association is going to have a group of 6 or 8 players be named very soon to kind of look back at what the things that worked, what they didn't work moving forward. Yeah. But there's just no way we're going to pull off hubs again, Mac. They're going to have to go to their respective buildings within the country of Canada and the U.S. and start from there without cross-bordering.
Yeah, I mean, I keep hearing that they're going to try to do area bubbles. In other words, the Canadian teams would play against the Canadian teams. Pittsburgh, Philly, Washington, New York, Jersey, play close proximity and do it that way as a maybe a way to start it out with no fans. So close proximity, no border crossing, limited travel, and then it would be a situation where there's no fans and slowly fans would come in the buildings. I just don't know. I can't imagine that the owners want, with 50, Gary says 50% of revenue is tickets. I'm not sure it's not a little more than that. It's such a big pill for the owners to swallow right now. Players don't want to lose their salaries. It's Gary. What Gary told me in the press conference, which I appreciate it more than anything, is they are looking at every imaginable option to try to get the season in. However they start, whatever they slowly move to, and however they finish, they're hopefully going to get their 80 games in plus, or will they move to 60? Will they move to 48? Depending on the crisis. It's all going to be about health and governmental rules. That's what it's going to be, including the border.
Let me ask you something, because you ran the Columbus Blue Jackets. Is it just a given that every team will open up their building and costs are minimal with a building? And I get it. The compressors have to go, but there's also the maintenance of the building, Mac. There's a staff. Is it just a given every NHL owner will just have their building open up 7 days a week, but only use it for 3 hours once or twice a week? Is that enough, or is that a concern for some teams?
Well, I think now we're in a situation where most teams control their building, manage and control the building. We did in Columbus, where we had the lease on the building and we managed the building. SMG managed it for us, but they answered to the Blue Jackets. On a game night, we would have 1,000 people working for us in Nationwide Arena, including our staff and the arena staff. It would be close to 1,000 people working on game night.
And that would be 700 or 800 just for the crowd, right? I mean, that's
you're dealing with concessions, but how do you open a building a little bit? I mean, you need a maintenance staff. I know the crowd not being in there lessens the pressure. I get all that, but these are big buildings, and I just don't know how it makes sense to play in empty buildings. I don't know. I don't see that, but we'll see.
Well, and I get it. People are sitting there going, don't just enjoy the Stanley Cup Final and enjoy the moment, and we'll worry about that then. No, they're on the clock now.
I know what my owner would say to me if I went into his office and said, look, we're going to play with no fans. Then his question, as sharp a guy as Mr. McConnell was, he would say, well, if you're going to play with no fans, we own the chillers here in Columbus, and they only bill us $150 an hour to use the chillers. Why wouldn't we just play the games in the chillers if we're not going to have any fans? Why would we open the big building not to have any fans?
It's a good point.
Why would you do that when you can pay $200 for the staff at the chiller and open up an 18,000?
What is the chiller? What is a chiller? Your practice facility?
Well, we owned the four. We called them the chillers, and we had four different locations in Columbus. We owned the double rinks, which were the chillers, and they'd seat maybe 500 people. Well, why wouldn't you play there?
I don't disagree. I think, well, we know why. TV. We know there's a big check to be stroked if you do not answer your television responsibilities.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see. It's gonna, in fairness to Bettman and Daly, and they've done a great job thus far in the PA, but how do you even remotely plan when we've got outbreaks all over the world? And it's, I go to Nova Scotia this weekend. They just put a rule in Nova Scotia 2 weeks ago. You cannot walk into every building I walked into. It was the first thing. Please put your mask on. Put your mask on. It's a law in Nova Scotia now. So it's so hard to predict and make plans.
Let's just hope in another few months maybe things calm down again. I know there's a real concern about a second wave, as there should be. If we have ample evidence that the numbers are going up, then it should be addressed. But
hey, Doug, I have a question from you from a novice layman's person, myself perspective.
We don't allow those on the show.
Yeah, okay. We have to find a new tandem then, I think. How much would it cost realistically to get the chillers or a comparable facility ready for television? Like, how much would that realistically take? I know you're joking about this $150 fee, but overall, what would it take to get ready for that?
Hold on. Let's get John Shannon on the line, an expert.
John, I was just going to say, John Shannon, maybe this is a job for John Shannon. Maybe he could be the guy to
executive
producer. He can get the ring. It would be challenging. I know that it would be very challenging to get the production. So and you're right, Nick, probably that's the reason why they would go to the big buildings.
It has to be, first of all, it has to, you cannot look, it can't look half-ass. Can't look half-ass. That's the best term I can use. Yeah. It can't look
they've done
minors. It can't look lame. It's got to look professional. They spent $100 million on two hubs, Edmonton and Toronto, and everybody says it's been fantastic, which it has. Can you imagine now going from that to the look of a practice facility? There's no chance people would ever take it seriously. You can't. The bar's
no. Bar's
Jordan, the bar's too high right now for what they've already seen.
It is totally too high. So that's where it'll be. It'll be in the big buildings, and that's more cost for the owners. And we'll see where it goes. I mean, I for one, the number one thing, it's looked good, the NHL. Yeah, they've done a good job. I mean, seriously, why are the games a little bit boring? Why am I finding them a little bit boring? And
I told you
really
because
because there's no fans.
Yes.
Because there's no emotion, no fans.
That's a factor too.
There's no atmosphere from the cities. A big part of the playoffs is what's going on in Dallas, what's going on in Tampa. And that's me. I'm sorry. I think the players miss that.
It's valid, Mac. It's valid, but overall,
it's the best they could do.
You have to give it more credit than finding what's wrong with it.
It's the best they could do.
Okay. And
it's the best.
I told you, it's been challenging for two teams to show up at the same time the last couple of weeks. It's hard.
If it wasn't for, I'm going to give you a little, my real, if it wasn't for doing this show, I wish to hell it would get over real fast. That's my opinion on it.
Come on, Mac. It's
not to mention the game will be at 9 o'clock at night.
Tampa will be better tonight, and you'll be more entertained. Okay, I will leave it at that. All right, let's. As
Jill said last week, if you spill one more glass of wine during the game, you're going to be in trouble. I said, well, first of all, they don't start till 9 o'clock, and good God, when it was the Vancouver series, it was 11:45. They're starting, and I mean, look. If I'm not spilling my wine, I'm spilling my milk and cookies, All
I hear is spilt milk right now out of you. Okay, let's go to the NHL awards, Mac. Where do you want to start? The Hart, the Vesina, the Norris, the Calder. Where do you want to go?
I love the Calder conversation. I really do. I mean, I love the fact that you've got. To me, it's a two-man race.
Well, between the defensemen, then there's Kubalik out of Chicago.
I love Kubalik's had a hell of a year. I get that. What is he, 25 years of age? I mean, okay, he's out of the mix for me. I mean, Makar and Hughes are the story, and I think it's an unbelievable race. Race.
So who wins?
I think Makar wins. I think that, I just think his role. I don't know. I mean, the statistical when you look at it statistically, 5-on-5 play and all the BS they come up with, I think he probably wins it. I think Makar is an unbelievable player, but I absolutely love Hughes and what he's done.
I have Makar a little ahead of Quinn Hughes. I think offensively, you could give the edge to Quinn Hughes, but I think overall, where Makar is just a little stronger and I think a little bit better in his own zone, I give the edge to Colorado's Cale Makar.
And I think Makar wins it, but I'm going to tell you something. What Hughes did for the Vancouver Canucks and the way he helped transform this team and how important a part he was in the transformation of this hockey team, it's not even close for me. Makar, with the luxury of some really good players there, I love Makar. He's a hell of a player.
Well,
he's a big-time talent.
Don't sell short.
Hughes did, for me, what Hughes did that the statistics don't show, he transformed a franchise or he helped transform it.
Well, I know, but there are some comparables, and I'm not suggesting that Bo Horvat's at the same level as McKinnon or, JT Miller got a lot closer to a guy like Rantanen than he ever did when he was in New York or Tampa Bay. But Quinn had a lot to work with around him, and those guys are stepping up to be world-class players now. It's really shaping up nicely in Vancouver.
And I'm going to tell you something. He helped them become better players. And this is a kid who helped them become better players. So this is not a knock on Makar. He's going to be a star. I love what he brings to the table.
Yeah.
I guess in fairness, I've watched Hughes a lot more than Makar. So I should be, but I love Makar. I love what he brings to the table. I think he deserves it. I think he'll probably win it. But I'm telling you, it is a hell of a 2-horse race here.
Okay, so we assume that Quinn Hughes and Cale Makar will take themselves out of the Calder naturally after this season and then put themselves into a Norris race for not only next season, but many seasons ahead. Right now, we've got John Carlson. What's that?
No, I think you're 100% right. Yeah. They become Norris candidates now.
Right now. So we go Carlson this season, Victor Hedman, and Roman Josi. Carlson, 75 points. Josi, I think, 65, and then Hedman was third with 55 points. Mac, I'll go first.
Yep.
And they're all incredibly important to their teams, naturally, but I'm going to go Josi for no other reason, Mac, that I look at the team he has around him, and I go, what could he have done in Tampa Bay or in Washington when my two best players are Ryan Johansson and Matt Duchene? Hedman's got Point, Kucherov, yada, yada, yada. Carlson's got Ovi, Backstrom, yada, yada, yada. And Josi, I think, had the best season out of all of them based on the fact that his team around him isn't nearly as strong as the others.
What do you mean? He had Duchene and Turris.
Okay.
Forsberg.
Yeah, okay. Come on, Mac. Who you?
Okay.
I got Josi.
And you know what? That is you're 100% right. They're three exceptionally talented guys. I've watched Carlson since he played for the Indianapolis Ice in the USHL as a teenager, and he was, he was a star then, and he's a star today. Josi's a horse, but I would like to see Hedman win it, and you know this better than I do, Nick. The fans in Tampa Bay hated this guy. When we were sitting in the stands and talking to the fans when he was emerging as a youngster in the league, they hated him.
Well,
none of them believed he'd ever become a player. They thought he was going to be a bust.
Yeah, I know.
He is a horse. He is so damn good right now. It's unbelievable. And if you could have any one of them on your team, which of the three would you take?
Yeah,
I know who I'm taking. Hedman.
Yeah, I would take Hedman too, but that's not what this is based about. So
what's this based on? Who had the best year?
Yeah, who had the best year?
I guess.
So you got Hedman. You're taking Hedman. I'm taking Josi.
I think I don't know that he'll win, but I got Hedman for what he's
all around. All around, he had the best season.
Yeah,
but we shall see.
Yeah.
We move over to the Vesina. So we got Hellebuck in Winnipeg, we got Tuukka Rask in Boston, and we got Vasilevsky in Tampa Bay. Now, if you're Don Sweeney, do you want Tuukka Rask winning this award? That'll just confuse things.
Oh my God. Where's Fleury's name? Why isn't he in here?
Hey.
Could they not have changed that when Tuukka left the bubble? Couldn't they have taken his name off that? I know it was serious. I know it's family, but and look, he had a great year. But I look at this list, and Hellebuck had a Vesina season. Tuukka Rask had a very, very good regular season. He's been a wonderful goalie for the Boston Bruins. Vasilevsky to me has been a rock. He's been a rock, and I know he didn't play well the other night, but he was so good in the Columbus series when Korpisalo was so good. He matched him, and every series since he's been. It's the regular season we got to go off for these awards, which I hate. I hate that. You go off the regular season. So if we're going off the regular season, Hellebuck wins it.
Yes.
He didn't have
my choice.
I didn't like his series against Calgary.
No.
I didn't like it. I know they were missing line.
You don't win that award in the playoffs.
I know, but I have a hard time voting for people when we have to look at the playoffs and you can't count it. You know?
Just wondering, could you ever factor in these awards, including the playoffs? But then you're into it would just confuse everything, Mac. Let's just
it'd be too hard for the writers. Their professional writers would have too hard a time with that. It would make too much sense.
I got to go Hellebuck for no other reason, Mac. That blue line was just dismantled much quicker than we ever thought.
Yep.
We knew they were tough decisions. That's why the Trouba trade came down. But nobody saw Big Buff disappearing like that.
No.
Especially Hellebuck. I think he's the guy that probably deserves it the most.
Well, he had a Vesina season. He was the reason that people thought they were a better team than they were. He's the guy that made an average blue line look pretty good in the regular season. And then when they lost Scheifele and Laine, the blue line, they couldn't play against That's against Calgary they couldn't play against. So Hellebuck deserves it. And but I didn't like his playoff against Calgary either. And I didn't like his playoff a year ago or whatever it was against Vegas. I mean, I don't know.
Okay, let's go to the...
Give it to him you want. I'd give it to Vasilevsky.
Okay. One of the most prestigious awards is the Hart. Of course, that means MVP. Now, there's a little bit of a confusion every year because people argue, is it the most valuable player in the league or is it most valuable player to your team? What would you rather, cut and dry, have it, first of all, before we get into any names here?
Well, if it's a guy I really like, I would use both arguments. If it's a guy I don't like...
cover your ass, eh? Just cover your ass.
Yeah, well, that's what I would just said about Hughes versus Makar. I happen to love the way, and I'm more of a, I guess, a Canucks fan than I am I love Colorado. I like Colorado too. Look, it's a tough one. Draisaitl had an amazing year. 100 points in a shortened season, or over 100 points.
110.
I mean, I know he gets to play with McDavid, but I'll tell you what, we coached him, Nick. We coached him in the prospects game many years ago, and I remember after the game sitting having a beer saying, who the hell is this kid? How good is he? And he's gotten better every year. He was very, very good this year. Panarin for me is since he took that jersey out, he's not getting my vote for that.
I think it's safe to say that Panarin will come in third here.
Since he went in JD's back pocket when they left the Blue Jackets, I'm going with Draisaitl.
The only question is, can McKinnon steal it from Draisaitl? Because it's hard not to always look at the top scorer in the league in this thing. Whether you like it or not, it's true.
And you know what? If again, to me, it's not even close if you look at what happened in the playoffs. Draisaitl's team gets beat by Chicago, and McKinnon almost single-handedly carried his team. With a third goaltender or fourth goaltender in his net, McKinnon almost single-handedly carried his team. So if I can include the playoffs, it's McKinnon. If I can't include the playoffs, it's Draisaitl.
Can you give away the Conn Smythe for a second-round loss? No, you can't. He was that good, though. He was really good.
Oh, my God, he was so good. He's such
the award that I think is starting to get more and more recognition in terms of being a prestigious type is the Ted Lindsay Award, Mac. And, of course, we know that. And it's included in the awards tonight. And generally, it comes across as a bit of a separate award from the other ones that we know are clear-cut league awards. But I really like this in many ways even better than the Hart Trophy, because this one's given away not by writers who sometimes don't like to stay up too late to watch Western games because it doesn't get them ready for their yoga class in the morning or
yoga.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But we do know sometimes when you're dealing with how many writers, I guess over 100 get to vote now. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
This one by the Players Association is given by your fellow peers. It's the players that give away the MVP of the league. To me, and we do know Draisaitl, McKinnon, and Panarin are in that as well, that this is the one that you, as a player, I would think, wow. The history of the Hart Trophy, of course, it's a wonderful feel to be up there with the names like, Bobby Clark and Messier, who's won it a couple of times, and those great names, Lemieux. But to win the Ted Lindsay now based on your peers, wow, that's quite an honor.
And this will be really interesting because we think Draisaitl wins the Hart by the writers, and I'll be shocked if McKinnon doesn't win the Ted Lindsay.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I will be.
Those are my picks as well. I think the players will definitely look at McKinnon right now, and look at him as clear cut second best player in the world, which will be good enough to win their vote.
Yeah. I mean, you play against him and you watch what he does for. Look, Draisaitl has been spectacular. He's going to be a star for many, many years. But I just like so much what McKinnon brings to the game and to his team and to the league. And that's no credit. I mean, when how can you ever, even Panarin? Look, Panarin's been a star. This is a guy that came out of nowhere. And he's been an absolute star everywhere, He didn't like the bubble this year, obviously, or at least he didn't appear to like the bubble the way he played in the playoffs, but that's okay.
He's not bubblicious on it, Mac.
I wouldn't like it either, in fairness, He and Bobrovsky did not have great bubble times.
No. Just wanted to get your thoughts. We're rounding up the top of the clock here, but I wanted to get your thoughts on, as we now are in a Stanley Cup Final, only 2 teams. That means that there's as many as 29, 30 teams if you include Seattle, and Ron Francis now talking about players' availability. There is a lot of discussion, but I had one team tell me that they thought, pending negotiations, it's been eerily quiet when it comes to what you're hearing out there, that there isn't as much noise as maybe some want to lead on. And we know that arbitration is going to come up right out of the gate. I had one team tell me, Mac, why would I want to negotiate now in scenarios with arbitration when it's going to be easier for me to look at an owner and tell him, I didn't pick to give him $3 million a year. The arbitrator did. Would you buy into that? You buy into that? We know we're dealing with a flat cap. We do know that we're dealing with uncertainty on when the season starts.
Why wouldn't you go to arbitration? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
If you're a player, because
you buy into that?
Yeah, totally. And the GMs are up against it big time, because we know what every team is fighting cap wise. We know they're trying to unload people. We witnessed over the weekend with Pietrangelo in St. Louis. I mean, where is that going? I mean, it's tough. And that's not even an arbitration situation, but that's going to be frightening too, is what the arbitrator looks to rule on. And you have walkaway rights, which I guess are, that's always makes you a touch nervous, but still.
Yeah. Well, and
I agree.
Pending free agency, and we've seen a very frustrated Pietrangelo. Yeah. And I'm not sure why anyone's surprised to hear that, for talks to break off, they had to have gone somewhere. And I was told right from the get-go that these never went anywhere, these talks between St. Louis and Pietrangelo. And he's been frustrated right from the get-go. I know he's spoken publicly a little bit about his disappointment, but he's downright pissed, Mac. He won a Stanley Cup. He did what he was asked to do, and that's lead a team. And he never got rewarded for it. And on top of that, to watch Falk come in and get a 7-year deal, and then Scandella to get a 4-year deal, and those guys to get looked after before Pietrangelo got looked after, you can see why he if he's bitter, it's not a real surprise.
And the number, according to reports, a little over 7 million versus an ask of over 9 million. Are those numbers accurate? I mean,
well,
he's.
I think the comparable would have been even the Roman Josi contract in Nashville that he just recently signed. But those are Mac, and you've been on the management side. It's like I'm sure if you're Doug Armstrong or St. Louis, you'd love to take care of him. But hey, look around. Look what's happening around us here.
It's a bad year to be up.
How can I offer you X amount? How can I give you the Roman Josi contract?
But you know what, Nick? We've done this strategy where we've talked about fixing numerous teams. How many teams have we already talked about that need a right shot defense? A number one pair right shot defense. Calgary with Brody going probably. Toronto. I mean, it goes on and on.
Start with the
Winnipeg
team.
Jets.
Start with the biggest disappointment in these playoffs, Vegas.
Start
there.
Exactly, 100% there, and go and say, whoa. I know it's a tough cap, and I know it's problems with the challenges of what we're faced worldwide. But this is a guy that every team is desperate for a right shot number one pair.
Yeah.
He's going to get his money.
He is, again, making just calls on the weekend, Mac. The sense I still get is that there will not be owners chasing a cup. And that's what you do when it comes to UFA. July 1 that we've been used to all these years now becomes October 9th, maybe 8th or 9th. Whenever they give the green light for the UFAs to go sign with other teams, that there won't be teams chasing a cup. And another team told me, Mac, it might even look and feel like collusion. It won't be, but it'll almost feel like that. And I'm like, whoa, did you even use the collusion word? I'm shocked that you would say that, but that's the sense that everybody, including all the owners, are going to be very careful here.
Well, I'll tell you what, you've got Vegas, and whoever signs Pietrangelo better get it right, because it will come under unbelievable scrutiny because of what you talked about. So you talk McCrimmon in Vegas. If McCrimmon steps up and he sells Bill Foley on this deal and it doesn't work out, look out, because my understanding is Bill Foley is wild right now. He's not a happy camper. And so it'll be interesting to see how it transcends throughout the league.
Well, I know since the Pietrangelo news came out on the weekend, everybody's talking Pietrangelo to Toronto, one of the teams that you just mentioned. Yeah. I'm like, so if I'm not mistaken, Pietrangelo will be 31, Mac. I think 31 by the start of next season on a 7-year deal. Like we look at the Tavares deal, and there's people that suggest that contract got old real quick too.
Big time.
And I don't
know.
All
do, Nick.
Even if the Leafs were in a situation where they were able to get rid of Nylander's contract or Andreas Johansson's contract or Kerfoot's contract, you still got to think about, do I really want to give a soon-to-be 31-year-old a 7-year deal?
They all get bad, Nick. McDonough's will get bad in Tampa. Subban's is already bad wherever he is, in Jersey. They all get bad.
But Subban at least has a couple years left, I think.
Yeah, right. we were worried a couple of years ago that Petrangelo's wheels were falling off. And then he had a great rebound, and he played terrific for them. And he's been good ever since. And he's a horse. And give him all that. But where is he in another 3 years? Where is he in another 3?
Well, you know, I think he's got 4 outstanding years enough. Or 4 outstanding years left, which means that you're going to have to suck on 3 of the bad ones, right? You're going to have to choke on that.
But you know what? We also said this about Weber. You know, where's Weber going to be? I mean, he still has a fairly hefty term left on his, and he hasn't really, I mean, he's been injured. That's been the downside, is his injuries, but he hasn't really dropped off his play, you know?
What am I hearing in the background? Are they coming after you or what?
That's the first time I've heard of a police siren in PEI this summer.
I think they're coming to get you. Hey, they're going to put you in a white straitjacket, I think.
They hate this hat.
Well,
as Jill said, why don't you go get a haircut and then you won't have to wear a hat as much on the Real Kyper show.
Let's take a look at your mop. You want to lift the hat for us?
It's white. I'm going to get it dyed.
No, you're not. What do you think? It'll add to you, 10 years if you dye it?
I would like to know how Rick Bowness and I are basically the same age, and he's got a sort of a brownish green haircut. How does his stay brownish green and mine stays white?
Yeah, he's dipping.
Cooper used to have the green hair too, but now he's got a better hairdresser now, Coop.
If you're Rick right now, don't you want to sign as soon as you can that head coaching extension out of Dallas, or is he that confident? He's gonna wait it out. Maybe the price of poker keeps going up for him.
Yeah, well, he's done a heck of a job, so we'll see what happens.
All right. That's my cue from Jordan to remind everybody on the boost. And we have Tampa Bay on the money line. We have Tampa Bay. We've got on the under. And Mac, we're going to go with Kucherov to score a goal. That's what I went on the weekend. And I don't want to mention how I didn't do that well, but I'm doubling down on it, Mac. And most importantly, you put just $1 on your bet. You're instantly in a contest to win a Harley Davidson, Mac. How does that sound?
I love it. All
right, Mac. Listen, good job today.
I gotta learn how to do this betting.
I was really concerned, Mac, you were going to come in off your weekend with not much energy, but I thought you were a real professional today. I thought you brought it.
Well, when you're a professional on the golf course, you bring it off the golf course too.
I love it. Doug Maclean, everybody, for Summerside PEI. We're back again tomorrow. For everybody watching, thank you very much. If you want to hit the like button one more time for Max, smash the love button. First-time watcher, please subscribe. We're here Monday through Friday talking hockey. We'll see you tomorrow on the Real Kyper at Noon show. Thanks, everybody.